Hey, what's up, guys? We're doing another tutorial video today. This time we're going to be doing it on a TvT build order. So for this is going to be a 1-1-1 with a Raven. This is one of the most common builds we can actually see right now in TvT. The Raven has become a lot more popular lately just because of how effective it is at disabling tanks. And also the Secret Missile can be useful as well in some situations, but you're starting to see it a lot more often, so I figured I would actually do a video on it, since it was probably one of the more requested ones. So this build's a little weird at the start, and it might be confusing, but rest assured, I will explain it, and then it'll make all the sense, and we can all win all the video games together, okay? So we're going to start off with a gas first opener. This is going to be 2 gases before command center, but instead of getting the command center as you normally would with 1-1-1 after the starport, we're going to get it after the factory. That's like the one big difference here. And we're also going to be taking guys out off gas, which might be confusing, but all you need to know is when to put guys on gas and when to take them off of gas, and it won't be as confusing. It just kind of looks scary when you kind of see it for the first time. So we did go gas before racks, and then right as we get money for it, we're going to throw down our second refinery. We're going to take off 2 guys off of gas at the same time that we're going to build our second depot, which is going to come up after the factory is done. Of course, the factory will immediately be built after the racks. When you build 2 refineries this early, you have enough gas to get a Reaper and the factory right away. So it's really effective at dealing with early game pressure as well. You'll notice that I haven't scouted yet, and I never will with an SCV. I'm going to be scouting with the Reaper. If they decide to go Reaper proxy, then I can actually hold it with a Reaper and a Hellion. I might have to actually pull a couple SCVs versus Reapers, but once you hold the first Reaper, then your Hellion comes out, and then it's really easy to hold after that. So I should be pulling 2 guys off of gas right now, and if I don't, then I'm a Dumbo. Please pull guys off gas. Do it. Do it. Okay, I don't. So pretend I did. There should be 2 guys on each gas geyser. So as soon as this factory is done, the SCV from the factory should be going down here. This is too early to send it, which I realized, and sent it back. Okay, so I did pull guys off gas. Good. Good. Thing about the Reaper, I moved it out this game. I would say not to, because it's kind of risky to lose your first Reaper. I think it's better to just put it on top of the ramp. I guess on this map it would be this ramp, because this is the one that he would come up of. But yeah, you just kind of want to wait until your Cyclone's out, then you can send your Reaper to scout. But if you want to be risky like me, because like right here, I could have easily just lost this, and then he gets to actually scout me, which isn't awesome. Forgot to send the SCV down here. I will realize that shortly and send it. Out of the factory, we're going to get a Cyclone and follow that up with a Tech Lab afterwards. So when the command center is built, that is when we throw the guys back on gas, just like that. And then save up for our starport, and then I should be throwing that down at 150, like that. Boom. So Tech Lab after the Cyclone, Reactor after 2 Reapers. So what you'll see I do here is I send out 1 Reaper, and I leave these 2 units at home. These are for if he sends his Reapers with a Hellion. I can actually deny that, and this is just a scout. You don't want to send all of your units across the map, because you can easily just counterattack and die. See, so yeah, these 3 units, I'm going to be able to actually deny them. He kills this SCV, but I mean, these units could have been sitting here and it would have prevented that completely. Also, throw down a supply depot as soon as you can afford it, or it'll get supply blocked, obviously. So that gets denied, and we're going for a scout. Cool, cool, cool. What we're going to do with these 2 things is we're going to swap them to get a Raven. And this is the bread and butter of this build. All we're really checking here is making sure that he is, you know, doing a normal build order. This build pretty much holds everything. The only big thing I would note on is if he had a reactor on his factory, then he's going mass cyclone play. Then you would want to throw down a bunker immediately, and then as these Marines come out, you can put them in. That's the only really scary thing that can happen for the next minute or so. Everything else is kind of just going to be medevac pressure or Banshees. This Reaper would be able to scout the Banshee as well, and if you see that, you have an option of either throwing down an engineering bay and getting 2 turrets, or you can get a Viking after the Raven, and then you can kind of have the Raven in one base and with the Viking and then the Cyclone and the Marines and the Natural. You might need to scan with that, so it's not super recommended. I would personally just get 2 turrets to be extra safe, but I'll leave that up to you guys. So we're going to throw in a Raven. This factory gets its own tech lab. We still have our 2 gas geysers here, and we're just waiting for the base to finish now. So this is the part of the build that can be customized to your own taste. Basically, what we're looking at is we need to throw down a 3rd command center and 2 extra racks. So the ordering of that, I can leave up to you guys. This game, I'm going to throw down the 3rd command center before the racks, because I like to have a faster 3rd with this build, just because it's so defensive. You're not really doing a lot of pressure, so you might as well just play greedy. I think I will do that shortly. I hope so. We're just going to be getting 1 Raven as well.
Add-on complete.
You can get 2 Ravens, but I feel like 1 is enough. With 1 Raven at full energy, you can disable 4 tanks, which is more than enough in most cases. So I do throw down that command center. I did build a bunker anyways. Again, I like to play safe in TvT. TvT is kind of a risky matchup altogether between Doom drops and units just running up your ramp and YOLOing into your base. It's always good to be safe. So for the starport's going to go get its own reactor, and the barracks is going to land on the tech lab for the starport and research stim. What we're going to do with the reactors is we're going to build a barracks on this guy, and then a barracks next to this guy, and it's going to swap with the starport. So what that's going to do is it's actually going to give us 2 reactors on both of our new barracks right away, so that we can start producing Marines as fast as we can, which is very important in TvT because, you know, it's TvT. So reactor, barracks, 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 there you go. And then after this, we go for the even greedier follow-up, which is we're going to throw down 2 NG bays and then 2 refineries after the NG bays. Hopefully I do it in that order. I didn't really execute this perfectly, as you can tell by now, but the way I'm telling you now is how you should be doing it. The NG bays should come before the refineries, just because the gas works out. If you look at our gas, we have 300. And I also had a little bit of a supply block. Just make sure to continually make depots. Obviously that becomes an orbital. You don't float that yet. You saturate the gas geysers, and you'll be able to get your 2-2 out once these finish. And then the starport, of course, gets its own reactor now. And when that finishes, you can start making medevacs. So the idea here is once we get the medevacs out is when we do our very first push. The Raven should be full energy by now, or by the time that push happens. If it's not, it's because you had to use it to defend a Banshee or a Liberator, or even a dropship. You can disable dropping with that, which is pretty cool. Be creative. You do you. Well, we're just building tanks constantly. We're going to throw down 2 extra barracks when we can afford it pretty soonish. And then you can float the command center around now-ish. I probably do it soon. I like to do it as the medevacs are coming out. I don't think I'd do it this game. I might, but you should probably scan before you move out, because if you see there's not a lot of units here, then he could be dropping you, and you might want to just spread Marines to be safe. I spread no units this game because I'm being lazy. I should probably have a Marine here, maybe 1 patrolling here for drops, and then 1 more here for drops. But I just kind of walk across the map. This is a small map, so it's doable. But if you want to be extra safe, definitely get some units spread out. We're bringing with the medevacs, and we're doing our push now. Like I said, 2 extra barracks, 1-1. The armory should be built right now, but I definitely forget that. And yeah, we're gonna scan up here. We're just gonna look for a spot that we can kind of abuse the tanks. If we see that he's sieged up here, then I can't even disable it. Like if I walk up this ramp, I'm just going to get concaved and destroyed. So what I do is I kind of go around because his tanks aren't already there. I even scan ahead just to be sure. So this is going to force him to come down in this direction with his tanks. And then when he comes down, that's when we disable them. I can get this siege off and then clear off this whole area. And then as he comes in, I disable it. He actually manages to clear my marines out, but I throw down 2 turrets, unsiege the tanks. It's pretty much... It's auto win a lot of the times. If you play versus good players, you shouldn't win with this push, but sometimes you do. But from here, it's like a really good transition. You already have your 3rd down. You already have your production down. Your 2-2 should start around now if you remembered your armory, which I did not. But for this game, I'm pretty sure I just kill this guy with the more disables here. Yeah, I disable these 2 guys. It's a pretty strong build. Can punish a lot of really greedy players while also being greedy yourself. And it's of course a really safe build because there's not a lot of pressures that can do damage. If he decided to go for like a tank push, you have that Raven, so you can actually disable his tanks. It's a little bit of a micro-intensive style for sure, but overall I think it's a really good build. It's probably one of the most standard ones you can do now if that's what you're looking for. It's always a macro-focused kind of thing. It's going to put you in the late game, assuming that this push doesn't work. Like, you should be able to do some damage or poke at some units, but the majority of the time versus good players, you probably shouldn't be winning with this. I'll be honest. And then, of course, you know, easy standard TvT follow-up. Throw down a 2nd factory. And, you know, go for your 4th base, extra racks. That's a TvT tutorial. Not what we're doing. But that's this build order. I think that's all the things I wanted to mention. If you guys have any questions, of course, leave it down in the comment section below, and I will get back to you in 2 to 3 business days. If not, I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time for another build order tutorial.